If you need a car that can carry you and 3 passengers in total luxury, yet at very high speed down any road, whether it's straight or twisty, then the Porsche Panamera could be right up your autobahn. It's been designed as a cross between a sports car and a limousine, and there's easily enough room for adults in these lovely sculptured rear seats. I mean, if you look, headroom's really generous, even for people over 6 foot. And knee room, well, there's plenty of it. Plus, because you can slide your feet under the chair in front, you can really stretch out. Another way the Panamera is like a limousine is the sheer quality here inside the cabin. In fact, it's the most upmarket interior Porsche has ever done. And I'll just give you a moment to take it all in. You've probably noticed there are almost as many buttons inside here as you get in the cockpit of a Boeing 747, but the advantage is you don't have to faff around with any swivel wheel menu-based system like you get in other cars. If you want to turn on the air conditioning, you just press a button. It's that simple. Another feature I like is this. The car's key is a little Panamera. Anyway, shall we put that to good use? You can get the big Porsche with either rear or all-wheel drive, while engines include a quick V6, a fast V8 or a ballistic 500 horsepower turbo, while a diesel and a hybrid are on their way. The Panamera is a car with a split personality. For instance, it can be very comfortable, especially if you go for the optional air suspension. It's quiet, and you can imagine crossing continents in this thing, no problem at all. But if you press some buttons and put the adjustable suspension to sport mode and the throttle response, then floor it, it just turns into a bonkers sports car. In fact, the way this thing goes around corners, pretty much beggars belief. I don't think there's anything that's this big that handles this well. But that brings me on to the Panamera's downsides, and its sheer bulk means that it can be hard to navigate down narrow roads. It can be a bit tricky in town too, especially if you're faced with a mini roundabout such as this, because it's hard to tell where the exact front of the car is, which means I can't quite make this round without worrying about grazing my alloys, so I'm going to have to do a 3-point turn. Oh, this is so embarrassing. Yeah, sorry mate, he's laughing at me. Oh dear. The Panamera can also be a bit of a pain to park. You have to totally rely on its reversing sensors, as visibility is hampered by a small rear screen and that bulbous bottom. Speaking of which, the boot isn't as large as you'd expect, although you can fold down the seats if you need to carry some rubbish to the tip. Really though, if you can afford to buy and run a car as expensive as this, you can probably afford to pay a man to do that for you. And finally, there is, of course, the Panamera's looks, because, well, let's face it, they're not going to be to everybody's taste. That said, they have kind of grown on me. But I actually think that's to do with the fact the more time I've spent with this car, the more I've appreciated what a truly impressive machine it is.